I'm sorry.
Stay close.
Yeah, well, essential and non-essential. First, the Canadian wants to come down, I want to go on 70 league. No, I want to go to Maine. No, Brad.
Yes, we have to start our meeting off.
One night, I'm getting asked to top of the hill.
Native pro.
No,
No? She didn't give those sheets. She didn't give those, what sheets it was? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yes.
that's good, you.
There you go. Is this your chief picture? And this? I gotta go
Yeah, I would either.
I'm not there, so I just bring the Wi-Fi down.
Yep, I
But
would
it's
either.
time,
John?
it's time to bring it home. And a nice welcoming letter from.
United States of America. Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome, everybody. Any public comments tonight? Any staff on the street? I think they're pretty good. Yes. Board comments. Anything from the board? Superintendent's report. Okay, thank you. I always like to bring in our new people. You've seen their names, and it's always nice to put a face to those names as best we can in these times. We have a few people that are on the docket tonight. They'll be here in our October meeting. We also have a couple that could not be here tonight, and we'll bring them back in October. But for those that we do have here, I would like to introduce them to the board. You've seen their names, and they've been in action for the last couple of weeks. You see no signs of panic in their eyes right now at all. And but they've come in at a difficult time, and they've done so far. Things are meshing. It's not perfect. We're getting there, and I'm really happy to have them here. As I call your name, I'm just, remember these cards? Yeah. I'd like you just to stand so that they can see who you are, and I'm going to start off alphabetical. So I'm going to start with Marianne Augustine. Marianne is from the Rome area. Originally, she came up here to SUNY Potsdam. I don't think she left. She's been at St. Mary's in Canton for the last 16 years, and has now graced us with her presence here. She's in our 5th grade. She's working in an integrated co-teaching classroom with one of our special ed teachers. And we're really excited to have you with us, Marianne. Welcome.
Thank you.
The next is somewhat of a familiar face. She's a graduate of Norfolk, Jessica Colby. 2004, I don't like saying ages, but that's pretty young, so in my mind. So Jessica's been working in the past 12 years, I believe, as a special education teacher with the ABA program and as a behavioral consultant. We actually utilized her services for the last couple of years, dealing with some of the atypical behaviors we were seeing expressed at our elementary level. And so she's a familiar face to the people here. We hired her as a 1st grade teacher. And welcome.
Thank you.
And Michaela Cruikshank. She is not my daughter, as you know, but I've been asked that. Her granddad is my cousin. So Michaela's from Lisbon. This is her first teaching gig. So it's great to see, new people coming out. For all those people in graduate school for education, there are jobs out there. Michaela's proof that you can land one of those jobs. So Michaela is, let me see, chemistry and AP bio. So you're not messing around. You took on some big jobs there. So welcome, Michaela, and I'm glad to have you here. Ashley Hemlock. So Ashley kind of has a roundabout. I first met Ashley when she worked as a teaching assistant, correct? Yes, back when I was the principal. So I remember her when she, fresh-faced, straight out, dealing in an ABA classroom. So you had been working as an assistant, then you were an ABA teacher, and then we grabbed you over here as a speech teacher. So quite a skill set, looking, she's got a bachelor's in psychology and communications disorders, special education, of course, speech, and I believe also a master's just in general education too. So you spent a lot of time in the classroom.
I did.
So we're glad you're here. Welcome. Allison Faubert. She's from Madrid, Waddington. We'll forgive her for that. Allison, this is her first teaching gig. She actually, I believe, she found her love of education and teaching here when she was a student at Clarkson Biology, correct?
Yes, physical therapy.
Okay, physical therapy and ended up with biology. She started studying here and fell in love with that whole teaching thing and found a calling there. Ended up going back for her master's in teaching, and she is one of our 1st grade teachers. So welcome, Allison. It's great to have you. And an alumni, yeah, you know where the alphabet's leading. All right, Jess Harvey. So Jess is as I said, an alumni of Norfolk. Super excited that we stole you from Brazier Falls. And you spent a couple years there. Now you're over here as a 6th grade teacher. Now she was, I'll say working, because the state views coaches, whether you're paid or unpaid, as an employee. You're an unpaid volunteer employee if you're a volunteer coach. And you volunteer coach for us for a few years. And coached next door. So we're hoping to keep you over here for all of those assignments and, of course, in the 6th grade. So Jess, really nice to have you here. Thanks. Welcome. And we have Jade Barney. So Jade Barney has a degree from SUNY Potsdam in theater arts. And so she had been working here as a one of our teaching aides and slowly got involved in the musical and getting more and more involved. And then we learned she's going back to get her degree in library and media science. And you're now almost there as a certified librarian, but you were our pick for elementary librarian. So welcome, glad to have you here. And if you want to see a video of what you can do, Norwood Public Library still has a video. I just mentioned this to you today. And I started watching it. It was a collaboration that she was working on. And it was 18 minutes long. I watched about 3.5 or 4 minutes. It was good, but I didn't have the 18 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
But welcome, Jake, very much. And so again, we have a few others that will be here for our next meeting, just to again put a face in front of them. I would, if it's all right, if we can take just a short moment, if any board member wants to welcome them, and we did bring just a welcoming gift. This is the reception. So if I can start signing out, thank you. Okay, if you guys want to go over, just say hello. Please.
Just thought you might have
I didn't know you were
They bought someone.
Yes, I just heard that.
I gotta, I'm sorry. I gotta show you. This is my oldest son. Her name is Everly. She's 15 months. And she's just trying to hold her eyes open.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I said, I gotta take her. She's so blonde and big blue eyes. And she's just started to walk. And she's walking really
Nothing more precious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Enjoy yourself. Hooked up in the house with a massive AC.
I haven't minded, it's just a big change, you only have one, then you have two.
It's only right now, it's only a sexual, not a sexual meeting. Cargo. Goods. That's it. Nurses, sexual health. Person, Canadian wants to go to the movies for 6 months. Yeah, catch all. Sounds like somebody set them up.
Yes.
We've always ready. I was born ready.
I'm good, baby.
Who wanted the birthday slide?
Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. You're welcome to stay for the remaining portion of meetings. Or you don't have to. So I know you've had a long day, so thank you. We appreciate you guys being here. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else for everything?
No, thank you.
Lisa, do you have anything?
Right now, I'm in the process of working on a 5-year long-range budget plan. It is something that the New York State Comptroller's Office looks for, and I'm actually using their template that they recommend. So I'm hoping that in October, we might have something for board to review. And then at some point, maybe November to review. The auditors are still finalizing all of their documents, reports for the year-end. They will be here in October to present the final report. What's that?
We just want to.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Anybody have any questions for Lisa?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. So we're getting into action items. Looks like the consent agenda goes from 5.01 to 5.15. Does anybody want to pull any of those to discuss further, or you want to leave them all in? You want to leave them all in? I'll make a motion.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
can I take out two of them?
Yeah.
5.11 and 5.14?
5.11,
Yep, and 5.14.
5.14.
Yep.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve or to vote on 501 through 5.10, 5.12, 13, and 15? Any motion for that? James first, Mary Ellen second. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor? 5.11, recommendation to approve the first reading of policy 6570, remote working. I get a motion?
That's what I wanted to have.
Right, we'll get into discussion after we do.
Okay, gotcha.
Motion first from Suzanne, James second, discussion.
So I'm just wondering how the communication's been with the administrators, with the teachers, and with the remote learning back and forth and that kind of thing.
So are you asking like the current teachers that are teaching students that are remote?
I'm asking, how are the administrators communicating with the teachers and kids?
Teachers are
Is it pretty fluid, or is there any problems, or is there, as far as
So
remote
we're
learning?
finding, overall, there's success. I think on day one, we saw a lot of frustration. Day two, less. When I asked the teachers that are dealing primarily with the remote kids, they're better every day. They're not to the level they want to be at. This policy more is geared towards what do we do with an employee that is teaching all remote and has a request to do it from off campus. Our policy has been it's best to have our employees here and to retain them here in a space here and have them remote out from the school instead of from their homes, if at all possible. So that's kind of what that policy deals with is the employee management, because obviously, some people think, well, I'm teaching all remote kids, I can do it from home. And while we allow that when the school is closed, we don't think that's necessarily the standard go-to. We want them here. It actually is a contract, you have work hours, and you can show up by contract. We were trying to live up to that contract and keep them here. But as far as the remote instruction, it's growing. They're getting better every day at it. We're finding some connectivity issues. So kids' internet is spotty. We have what's called a Kajit, roll that up. That's basically a hotspot that this district provides to families to increase their connectivity with the school. And right now, tomorrow, I know a lot of the teachers will be meeting for the first time really all together in their departments or groups. And one of the things they're going to tackle is, okay, what kids aren't we hearing from? And I know Mr. Lynn, I've seen him come back from a few home visits already. And so we'll approach it just like it's a regular, kids not showing up for school here or not showing up for school online, it means the same thing to us. So,
Okay.
did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor? 5.14, recommendation of the district wide school emergency response plan as revised. Motion. James first, second, Mary Ellen second, on discussion.
Just a question. Do we share the most up to date with like Norfolk PD, state police, fire department? That's all shared with all the locals?
So this is actually a template on the SCADA's website, and all of these components, so I can put it in, it looks a little different on the state website, but all the information is disjointed on the website. All that information is back here. This is it's great. First thing I have to do is send it to state police. They're the ones that are kind of controlling party over all the school districts. But I also go as far as to send it to the sheriff, to the local PDs, and the fire departments also. Once it's approved here, then I go to the state website and input this data. This is a very template-oriented plan. Next month, we'll have what's called our school safety plan. It's a little different. It's more in line with some of our things here. Like this covers, what happens in a tornado. Not your typical things. So the safety plan is a little different, and our counselors are a lot more involved in that one. So that's going to be coming in the next week. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. But yes, short answer is yes, yep, it's all coordinated.
Thank you. Anything else? All in favor? 5.16, recommendation to approve the substitutes for 2021.
A few lists, yes.
Can I get a motion? Suzanne first, James second. Any discussion? All in favor? 5.17, recommendation to approve the appointment of STEM advisors, Sean Nelson, Joe Bullock, Laura Rubin, and Jennifer Bowman. Have a motion. Mary Ellen first. James second. Any discussion?
Yes. So, not so much discussion, but just maybe a question for Lisa, and, because I don't really know the answer to this. At what point do we start, I don't want to say worried, but about some of the extra programs or discretionary money that's being spent, considering that the state aid is reduced? I just want to say that as an educator myself, I am in favor of, I would love to see more programs and more teachers. I mean, we all do, but we also know what the financial realities are. And so I just worry that, at what point do we, for this year, okay, it's great, I'm in favor of it, all that overrides and all that other stuff, but it all costs money, and I'm not saying we should anything, but everything, it all adds up. So I just wonder, and I'm really glad that you mentioned the 5-year business plan, because I think I'm really looking forward to it, because
I think that will give us a better idea in the picture of, what's to come in the future. And, because it will be a tax burden eventually, because this financial crisis is going to impact us, no matter what. So it's just maybe a discussion, just a conversation.
And your short answer to that question is we are worried. We have been looking at our pennies. There is some areas of the budget we're kind of a little out of whack on, and that's because we're trying to open school, clean, and such. But we aren't filling all positions right now. We have 4 teaching assistant positions, 2 teacher positions we aren't filling right now. And trying to at least stem the wave. That's not going to be enough if the 20% reduction becomes permanent. And so we do have to, honestly, the bulk of our entire budget is personnel in appointed positions. The one we might call the low-hanging fruit, the extracurriculars. Right now, we're trying to put a semblance of a school year together. It's here, it's there.
Oh, no, I completely understand.
Yeah.
Just, I'm worried now, I was worried weeks ago. Unfortunately, in terms of the 20% reduction, we won't know that permanent until next week. So, it's not necessarily my position to make decisions on what we do and what we don't do. I can certainly inform the board of what we possibly have this losing. And about 20% reduction even over
Yeah. So $3 million, it's, I don't know how any of the districts in the country, if they actually get 20% reduction.
That's a huge impact on our district, considering poverty level and, how much revenue comes from the taxes. And I'm really worried, and I think we all should, and I know you are, and I know people are, and I agree with you. I think that we need to, I don't know how much proactive we can be, we have been already, but, we have to start looking, I guess, at everything. Other institutions are doing that too. We did too. This year, in our academic year, all of the discretionary funding was gone. And that,
and I'm asking the same question.
yeah.
So I will tell you that in our regional meeting tomorrow, that's going to be a topic is advocacy. I've written a few letters just through organizations like the Temple letters, but I think it's getting to that point we need to start really pushing as an education entity in our country and connect that with everyone else. We've had success with that in the past. Right now, it's to that point. We are.
And in order to reopen in terms of safety and compliance with regulations, we spent dollars that were not in the budget. Supplied to the. So, that's an issue. Our issues are down 95%, we're almost nothing. And our, these are just items that I'm aware of. Our natural gas, utility, the amount we pay by volume is over my budget. So we'll see, we'll be over budget completely because our usage, but that would have kind of what
In your budget, your medical and COVID-19. I understand, some of these budget companies.
I am singling out purchases because it's been expenses to, possible difference. So I already started that process. And we're also probably going to exceed we have budgeted to cover substitutes for time. So, if you want to try to save, there's.
I think I heard you, but I'm not sure I heard you. All COVID-related expenses that we have in school come out of a separate file. Like,
I'm coding them to like a separate budget.
yeah, okay, just in case someone says, hey, you get 24 hours to reimburse, 50%.
Whether it's a supply or wages or.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? 5.18, recommendation to approve common scorekeeper for soccer games at the rate of $20 per game every day rush. Every day motion. We're all for it. You think so? I do have one question on that. That's $20 per game, so we stays with the go on the ball.
Oh, so it's 20 for timekeeper and 20 for book, that's not contractual.
It's 40 per
It
game.
is 40 for, if he does it by himself, it's 40, because he's doing both.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Recommendation to approve resignation of an instructional aide at the Sherry's Academy. Motion. James first, Suzanne second. Discussion. All in favor?
What's her name?
Sherry. Academy. 5.20, recommendation to approve the resignation of Charlie J. as instructional aide. With a motion, Ron first, James second. Any discussion? All in favor? 5.21, recommendation to approve the resignation of an instructional aide at James Barney. With a motion, James first, Suzanne second. Any discussion? All in favor? 5.22, approve the resignation of retirement of an elementary teacher at the County of Russell. Motion. James first, Leon second. Discussion. All in favor? 5.23, approve the appointment of a half-time long-term library user specialist, and Belinda, I'm sorry, 5.22. Recommendation approves resignation of the elementary teacher, Kelly Russell. Did that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5.23, approve the appointment of a half-time long-term library specialist, and Belinda Hardy. Motion, James first, Mary Ellen second, all in favor? 5.24, recommendation to approve the appointment of a long-term business teacher substitute, at the Jenna Fiacco. Any motion? James first, Mary Ellen second, any discussion?
I shared through an email my concern regarding this position, and I think just in general, a worry that, we have a limited supply of certified teachers, and I worry about the quality of education, and, I mean, it is what it is right now, and I will accept it for right now, but, I just want to, remember this conversation maybe next year or whenever. Other than taking courses here, which these are elective, so I don't know how many she's taken. I don't know much about her. I don't know her transcripts or anything. But just by reading the resume and what was submitted, we're talking medical coding in business and, medical terminology, excuse me, in business courses. And I just worry, I know that she's receiving a lot of help. She's new, she's young, she's not certified, no business background, writing in English, education. It's a high school position. These courses are important, and I'm just expressing a concern. But I understand that we didn't have a certified candidate, I mean, I understand the situation we're in, I just am concerned about the quality of education. Not that she may be a great teacher, there's no question about that, you know, I read some of the personal statements and the answers to the questions. It's just, yeah.
I share, it's a frustration with the teacher in schools right now, especially for certain certifications. We advertise, as I mentioned in my email, actually, we advertised, we didn't get any certified applicants, we did interview, we had some interview verification, we offered it to, they declined, and that was a few days before the teachers were coming in and looking at our sub list. We did go through, we did question a lot of things. The medical terminology is actually a lot of the writing actually comes really handy because a lot of that background prefixes and suffixes in Latin terminology. But yeah, it's one of those situations that I wish we had a pipeline for business and we just don't, because they don't come up that often. But we know it's coming up. This is long-term sub, it's just that, it's a long-term sub. And we'll try to find somebody, get them certified to pursue the business background. I share, it's frustration. The administrators and I expressed, you know, a few different rules, the lack of certified.
I mean, I just want you to know that I'm not questioning their communications or, you know, I just know, I know what the limitations are. Actually, when this position was advertised in the newspapers, I reached out to my colleague who's a program coordinator for the management program at Canton, and I said, you know, because they have a lot of professionals, you know, graduating from the program and such, and I said, you know of somebody, recent graduates, you know, who could sub and in this area, and he said, not at the moment. You know, I mean, so I completely understand. I just kind of want to bring it up, just as an awareness.
Any other discussion? All in favor? 5125, recommendation for the four-year probationary appointment on the elementary teacher, that's Tiffany Powell. On the motion. James first, Darrell second, any discussion? All in favor?
What was her name again?
Tiffany Powell.
Howland?
Powell. Powell.
Oh, Tiffany Allen. Okay.
5126, recommendation to approve the appointment of a cook manager of the Nancy Peters and effective upon favorable clearance. Any motion? Steve first. Second. Darrell second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just got a question.
Okay.
So is she working right now or no? Not yet.
We have her here and there as a sub. We don't have her working with any students. She's office right now only, until those fingerprints clear. Honestly, when we had to make a call on that, and we are under the gun in fact. So that position usually works with kids and the service line and everything like that. I was asked if we could bring her in for a couple days here and there this week, and I said yes, as long as she's back, not with kids. Bring out her fingerprints.
What's usually turnaround for that? Who's that with the sheriff department? Get the fingerprints?
No, there's a service, and actually it's usually a fairly quick turnaround. Right now, it's not just here, but statewide, there's a huge, massive retirements and people changing, and so there's a lag. We were told that would be a 30-day, up to a 30-day. So we told this person that at the 30-day mark, if we don't know, we're going to have to move on and find somebody else that we can get.
How long has it been since she's had her fingerprints done?
You remember the date?
End of August, the 20-something of August. That's already been done and taken care of, and they've been submitted to state ed. State ed hasn't reviewed them to put up clearance. And we did email asking for an expedited, because she's waiting on appointment. They said they would look into it, but they're backlogged.
So if the what if happens, do we have a backup plan if We can't, is there something else?
There was a pool of candidates. I believe it was a smaller pool, but I believe there was a pool of candidates, and that's how I worked that out with our cafeteria manager, Blue Jay Benoit. I know she still has the names of the people that were in the candidate pool.
Anything else?
Now, will this person who's out on unemployment because the state hasn't sent us back their fingerprints?
I'm sorry.
Will this person who's out on unemployment because the state hasn't returned their fingerprints on time to get?
This person is, we can't put them in until their fingerprints clear. They can't work with kids in public school.
But after 30 days, we'll just move on to someone else's level.
Maybe somebody else in that pool already has their fingerprints cleared. That's what we have to investigate.
All in favor? 5127, recommendation of Board of Commissioners, manager's contract, effective upon hire. Get a motion. James first, Mary Ellen second, any discussion? All in favor? And 5.28, recommendation approved to former medical leave for Henry Cassidy. Get a motion. James first, James second, any discussion? All in favor? Report of correspondence. No. Public comment? All good? Any board comment? Right? Steve? All good.
Discussions related to the Wednesday early dismissal. We are going to do a survey of those parents of the elementary kids. I just wonder if there's an update on that.
We have not gotten the survey out. We've kind of been really kind of busy with getting the school open.
Yeah.
That is, I know Mr. Kingsley is working on that. It's not completed yet. We want at least to settle a little bit and then talk.
That's fine, I was just wondering if there was.
Would that be tomorrow, the first day of the collaboration? Give a review of their meeting.
I'm sorry.
Since tomorrow, they're gonna be, the department's gonna be together, so my question was, that basically the first day of collaboration? We would meet the teachers, who. Having time at the end of the day, so.
No, it's at the middle and high school and then Wednesdays.
Yeah, I did watch the meeting for the dismissal for the elementary. I'm just wondering, so, just so I understood it, you're talking about dismissing, still bringing them to school on Wednesday, but dismissing them early? Is that what you were saying, or?
We talked about that and that was decided not to be enacted at this time.
Okay, so the thing you guys are talking about right now
The
is
middle
the
and high
survey.
school- The middle and high school have a remote day on Wednesdays. It's been in the plans since
Right.
day one, so that's what we're.
Okay, okay.
Elementary is full day tomorrow, every day.
Okay.
We were looking at surveying parents to see who would have, we're dealing with 20 kids that would have a conflict or lack of childcare in that we can't be released early, or if we're dealing with 200 kids. Well, maybe we could figure something out, but a few, we don't have that data yet.
Okay. And how we doing everything as far as adapting and, I did the scanner check coming in, those machines been pretty up to date, good?
I'll tell you, we really, kids have been awesome. We really haven't run into any issues. Things have been very fluid. We had some pre-Kers crying on day one. That's pretty typical. Day two was better. I'll tell you that the kids have been awesome, very fluid, very adaptable. I'll tell you, great thing about our faculty is also something that's they're struggling with right now. We have some very high performing teachers that want their standards here. And right now they're relearning things, and so they don't feel like they're there. And so there's anxiety with our teachers. They're getting better. Every day they're learning, they're sharing. But as far as how things are going with the kids, it's been a dream.
What about the kids getting on the bus? Have we encountered anybody like Johnny or Janie getting on a bus and they have temperature? Have we encountered any of that yet?
We have not encountered that. Families are doing a good job. We do have some. I have a confidential list of students that are evaluated periodically throughout the day, and our nurses are dealing with that individually with the homes. I now have to do a daily report, 3 daily reports for each of our schools to the Department of Health for any child interaction with testing or suspected symptoms. That's grown into teachers, if we suspect any teachers. And so it's evolving, but I report back to the DOH every day before 3. But so far, our plans, I don't want to jinx it, but we're functioning well under our plan right now.
Good.
That's actually what we're checking the box. All right, so do you have any protesters yesterday evening for the We Want Sports?
I have not seen, I watched the news, I didn't see any of our people there, any of our kids. It was released today that sports will start, at least the varsities first, in soccer and cross country. And then we'll go from there.
Are they saying mass with cross country or?
Well, so that's going to be decided section-wide. There are questions about that. Cross country, you can stagger.
Starting, yep.
And so if you've been out packs soccer, you are within 6-foot proximity. So there's the question of masks in soccer. Haven't gotten to that point. There's a lot of logistics. I mean, it's the answering the question of opening sports up seems very simple. It's very complex because the logistics, because many of our students aren't here. And at that time, we're supposed to be having them here. We can't transport them because our buses are busy at that time. So there's a lot of dynamics at play in this. The masking is one of them during competitions. Yeah. There's, just looking at the number of kids on a roster. Well, we send one bus for a team. Will that bus be able to hold that team? Those are all things that we have to look at.
Oh, yeah. Steve, you have something? Oh, yeah. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. Did you care to share anything about the article you printed about snow days and?
At this time,
Well,
at this time, we're not prepared because if we have snow day, our elementary don't have access at home.
Yeah.
So right now it's a non-starter for us. If we happen to have to go 100% remote, and we got everything distributed and we were going 100% remote anyway, there's a possibility we could utilize that final program. But we're not going to entertain that until we're in that situation.
I didn't think we were, we were 100% remote. Yeah, that's why I wonder where this idea came from.
The only problem with if we're all 100% remote is are our teachers prepared to teach from home? So there are some logistics in getting our teachers prepared at home too. So right now, short answer, nope, we're not ready. Not yet. It is intriguing. But if they don't cancel regencies, we don't necessarily want to end the school year early and not have an instruction before we can state regencies.
I'm sorry. Just
last and then I'm done. So just one crazy suggestion perhaps for the administrators and the school to consider, for your staff development or, a teacher coordination, whatever you want to call it, is ask the students. Ask them about their experience. I don't know if that, typically that doesn't happen. But if you want to improve your online teaching, ask them. You will be surprised, what they will tell you. I will just give you just one example. That is, a ninth grader today told me, I'm not going to say which class, he said, I have assignments in 3 different areas. I have to do a paper assignment, Google Classroom assignment, and something else for the same class. So, we need to understand that whatever age they are, even if they're 18, they're not multitaskers, and this is very overwhelming for them. It's like a tsunami of emails, that they receive and we do as parents, which is fine, but it's very overwhelming. And I understand that the teachers are probably, getting, it's a beginning, and I know it will settle, but we just need to, ask them, is this the best way to do this assignment? The majority of you, those types of things. They won't help.
Yeah.
Just something to think about, maybe a little focus group or something like that, ask them how the class is going and so on. Because it is overwhelming. We received an email from Robin, for example, attendance required, whatever. But he didn't have a Zoom link to, so I said, email the teacher, where's the Zoom link? You're gonna be kind of absent, and, we're trying to figure out, and I know it's the beginning, but, they're feeling very overwhelmed right
Yes.
now.
And we recognize that last spring, we did several little surveys to our older kids, and at the younger levels with parents, we got great feedback, it's a great suggestion. We haven't scheduled one yet, but we're just into it, but and as far as the attendance thing, we are working with families, we are looking at, okay, my child was kicked off because we had internet issues. Today, I guess Google had a nationwide problem.
Yeah.
So that caused some upheaval. We're trying to look at attendance and we're being soft on attendance when we know there's an issue. And as long as there's an attempt to get connected, we'll get that working out. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, especially high school kids.
Yeah.
Suzanne, you had something?
I'm good.
Anybody else have anything? I get a motion to adjourn. James first. Rob second, all in favor? Thanks, everybody.
Oh, executive session. Mark this day now.
Really won't like.